I am deleting every social media app from my phone for 30 days. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, X, and even YouTube Studio. Why? Because I realized I wasn't just a consumer in digital prison anymore. I had become a digital correctional officer. And just like Lupe Fiasco said in Prisoner 1 and 2, the officer is a prisoner too.
You prisoner too. You living here too. You just like us. Till your shift get through.
What's going on, yeah, man? Welcome back to the Broken Traditions Podcast with your host, Leron Gaskins, aka Big Ellie.
They call me Big Ellie.
On this podcast, we like to discuss ways for you to detach from your phone, which I call the digital incarceration. And you guys are looking to that kind of content, you want to start escaping from the digital incarceration, you're in the right place. So I am not a prisoner, I would say, of the digital incarceration, but I just realized that I am a correctional officer of the digital incarceration. And this is something that I didn't realize I was struggling with until recently when I was a guest on another podcast, which I'm going to explain a little bit later. I was a guest on the Purpose Over Pension podcast with host Lenny Bradley, right? So I flew to New York and recorded a podcast episode with Lenny Bradley discussing, the digital incarceration and tying it with his brand. It was a great episode, a 2-hour conversation. I'm not sure when he's going to release it, but that's something I just did this past weekend. But during that conversation with Lenny, I said something like, the social media addiction works two ways. You can work as a consumer being addicted. You can also work as a creator being addicted. And when I said it, I didn't realize it was something that I was going through in real time. And I guess being in New York, being out of my norm that I have here in Georgia now, I was constantly looking at analytics for my data. I kept looking at my analytics. I only posted one episode with Lenny, and by the time I finished the episode, we talked about tech and podcast creation and all the different type of things for hours. Then I had to leave, go to an event with my mom. Then after I went to the event with my mom, I went out to Brooklyn with my boy Mark and SV for hours. Like I was out for a bit. But the next day, I found myself in the analytical trap. And maybe because I wasn't in the comfort of my home, maybe because, I'm just not in the space where I'm used to being at and the routine that I'm used to doing, I kept looking at my phone, looking at analytics, looking at, my analytics on TikTok, my analytics on YouTube, my analytics on Facebook and Instagram, and my analytics on Patreon. And I'm just like, why am I looking at this stuff? And I was like, wait a minute, I might be part of the problem. I might be not a digital prisoner and behind a cell, but I might be somebody who is a digital correctional officer, right? And when you go back to the song that Lupe Fiasco had, Prisoner 1 and 2, on his album, Tetsuo and Youth, shout out to Lupe Fiasco, he speak about Prisoner 1, right? That is the actual prisoner, the inmate who was guilty of a crime and who went to jail and who's living his life behind these bars, right? And on that song, part 2, he speak about the correctional officer who is kind of in the space of, you are in this jail with these prisoners, right? You are in the same space as these prisoners, but you are here in the same environment, but you collected a check, right? And this me with my analytics was my check. And as long as I was putting out the content, checking for the check that I was supposed to get, my analytics, I am the correctional officer making sure that you still scrolling, right? And we think addiction only means scrolling on TikTok for hours or scrolling on Instagram for hours, right? But creators, our addiction hide in the numbers, the views, the likes, the followers, the comments. And that is part of the reason why I am deleting these apps for 30 days. I'm deleting them for 30 days. I'm like, you know what? I think it's time for me to detach, break away, and understand that, all right, I can't have this on my phone because clearly it's a problem. Clearly I keep looking at it, right? And even coming back from New York, getting back into my routine. I don't know if you hear it in my voice or not, but I got sick in New York. That's something that is something that I didn't realize was a thing until my wife pointed out, like, every time I travel, I get sick. And we realize why now. We both work from home. We both in our little bubble all the time. And we don't be around too many people. And we don't build up our immune system. So we always just home. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I think I always get sick every time I go travel. Like, I got sick in New York. I got sick in Colombia. I got sick in Belize. I think last time I went to New York, I got sick again. So, like, I'm always getting sick. It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. But I digress on me getting sick. But yeah, being out of the routine and getting back into the routine, I find myself still looking at the phone, looking at analytics, looking at data. And I was like, damn, this is not what I'm preaching, or this is not what I'm telling you guys to do. I'm telling you guys, or I'm suggesting to you guys, I should say, let's break free from the digital incarceration. But I am now finding myself in another form of the digital incarceration. And I know how I am, right? I know how I am. I am a jump in the cold water and let my body get used to it type of person, right? I'm not a stick my toe in the water and walk in. When I'm doing something, I have to do it, jump in, plunge, full body into the water, then I get used to it, right? And that's why I say, you know what, for me, to escape this form of digital incarceration, I'm going to delete the apps for 30 days. I'm going to delete for 30 days because I really thought I beat the overconsumption as a viewer. I wasn't binging endless reels anymore. I wasn't binging TikToks anymore. I wasn't looking at people's stories endlessly no more. But I caught myself checking my analytics from 10, 15 times a day, waiting for numbers to move and waiting for validation. More than 52 creators report experiencing burnout. And the biggest driver is what researchers call visibility labor, the constant need to feed the algorithm and stay relevant. Checking analytics is just another kind of scrolling. You still refreshing the slot machine. You just swap the reels for the reach. Part of the reason why I really want to detach from this, right, and do this 30-day detox is because the mental health course. When we tie our identity to numbers, our mental health pays the price. It's always a movable goalpost when it comes to these numbers. These numbers never a steady spot where you can reach, and once you reach, you gain something, right? It's always, I could do more, I could do more, I could do more, I could do more. And when I went to New York, right, I talked about, I was on the Purpose Over Pension podcast with Lenny Bradley. Shout out to Lenny for having me on and discussing the digital incarceration. When I made that comment, and I went back and looked at my own habits. I went back and looked at my own habits, and I was like, wait a minute. Why am I doing this? Why am I keep looking at this? Why is this my norm for the moment? I'm in New York. I'm with my family. I'm with my peoples. You know, why I'm not in the moment? Why am I constantly looking at some data? Why I'm constantly trying to change things up on a last post I did, or why I'm trying to create posts and do all these different things? It was a problem. It was a problem. And a 2024 influencer study found that creators with higher followers experience more anxiety and negative emotions. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those creators. I think I spoke about this before on my episode about anxiety. I used to have comment anxiety, literally comment anxiety. When I will put out content, I see all these comments coming in, and I'm like, whoa, all these people are saying something about something I did. I just kind of like, I couldn't look at it. Or if I had to look at it, I had to literally sit down, get a tea and a cigar, and sit on my laptop and look at the comments in that space. Like, I couldn't look at it. It's anxiety, negative emotions. And it's like somebody could say something who don't even know you, would put something out there, and you would carry that for the rest of the day. Don't know if you guys heard of the Let Them book by, I think it's Mel Robbins. I'm starting to read it now. It's crazy how we just got this book, and my son mentioned it, and yeah, I'm reading it, right? I'm reading the book now, so sometimes you have to let them, but I couldn't do it. But the more followers you gain, the more anxiety you inherit. Like, success come with a hidden tax. So, Prisoner 1, Prisoner 2. Shout out to Lupe Fiasco. Like I said, I got the vinyl behind me while I was recording this episode. As a viewer, you are Prisoner 1, trapped in the endless feed. But as a creator, I realized I was in Prisoner 2, the officer. I thought I had the keys, but I was locked in too. I wasn't just posting content. I was guarding the gates of my own jail. I thought I had the freedom, but the truth was I was on duty 24/7 because I'm literally waking up looking for these analytics, going to bed before I go to bed, looking at these analytics, sitting down at the table. I might just, glance at the analytics. I was definitely on duty looking at analytics, looking at these analytics, hoping for something to change, hoping to see a crazy burst for whatever reason. And I had to realize this. The creator, as in myself, the creator isn't free. The creator is the guard. Sometimes the guard has to sleep inside the prison. You ever heard about a correctional officer getting mandated and have to stay, do a double shift or a 24-hour shift, something crazy like that? That's who we are. If we talk about the cell phone being a digital incarceration, we have to talk about how the creator is a digital correctional officer. And the crazy part about, the burnout and looking at analytics and looking at getting this crazy anxiety as a creator and all the different things, majority of the reason why I am deleting these apps for 30 days is because the problem's getting big when it comes to creators. The problem's getting so big, there are now therapists who specialize in treating creators. Let's take that in for a second. A job where, you can sit down and, put up a camera and do something creative. Do something that is within your spirit as far as creativity. There's now therapists who specialize in treating these people. Therapists now work specifically with content creators to help them manage the stress of metrics, boundaries, and burnout. They understand that platforms themselves create anxiety. Oh, that is a quote from On Par Therapy. When I started content creating, I would never thought that I would need a therapist for content creation. Thank God that I kind of got it under wraps on my own. But I could see people who need therapists. I could see people who need couples therapy because of content creation. I could see people who need, anxiety pills because of content creation. Sometimes I would just look at my engagements and I feel like I was failing, even when I wasn't. That's when I knew it wasn't just a habit no more. It was the digital incarceration. It was a trap. And I want to give you another report. The Later Creator Mental Health Report, which surveyed over 600 creators, showed the best coping strategies are setting boundaries, taking rest days, and limiting analytic checks. When you need therapy just to survive an app, that's not freedom. That's definitely incarceration. Okay, so let me tell you about the next 30 days, right? I'm deleting Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, YouTube Studio. What else I got on there? I think I got Rumble and Fanbase. I'm deleting those too. Deleting those apps from my phone. I want to see how I need those apps or not, right? See if there's a reason for me to try to reach back and get those apps again. So I'm deleting those apps on my phone. But now I'm not going to delete my accounts. I'm keeping access only on my MacBook for DMs and set a time of day for me to reply to DMs. We still got the Wins and Lessons podcast going on. So a lot of times we do find guests through direct messenger. So I'm still direct messaging people through, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or what have you to keep the flow of Wins and Lessons going. And also, may post a few things, but I'm going to post a few things through the MacBook, not through my phone, just to keep people, letting everybody know what's going on. But if you guys are interested into this 30-day journey, I want to journal it, right? So Monday through Friday, I'm going to do a video journal about how I'm going through this 30-day detox or this 30-day app deletion. And I tried to find a way to put it on my stories on Instagram on the MacBook, but for some reason it's not loading, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to journal a video journal that's on Patreon and YouTube memberships, right? But here's the thing. I'm not trying to sell you a membership. I just want to have it behind something else with my analytics, even though going back with analytics, right? I want to have it behind something else with my analytics and what I'm doing for you, right? Depending on when you find this episode, or depending on when you see this episode, my YouTube and my Patreon are free for 30 days, right? For my YouTube membership and my Patreon are both free for 30 days. So you guys can check it out free for 30 days and see the whole journey. If you're watching this after the 30 days that I'm doing it, or if you want to watch it in real time, you could just become a member of the Patreon or YouTube membership. And like I said, it's free for 30 days. And if you guys submit your email, I will leave a reminder Like, hey, your 30 days about to be up. If you don't want to keep this membership going with the YouTube and Patreon, now is the time to delete it, right? I'm not here to try to get your money. I just want to share this experience with you guys. And the best way I think I could share it is through Patreon and YouTube. And like I said, I make sure it's free for 30 days so you guys can check it out. But not gonna lie, me doing this is at a crucial time, right? The Wins and Lessons podcast, new season is underway. The time I'm recording this episode and the time this episode's coming out, the Wins and Lessons podcast, season 2, episode 1 will be out a few days later, right? So I will be posting on Wins and Lessons podcast through, like I said, the MacBook, just to keep people informed about the episodes and what's going on. But like I said, I'm the type of person, I'm going to jump into the water. I don't care. I'm jumping in the water, full body emerge. I'm not going to tiptoe into it. Doesn't matter what's going on. I feel like this is a problem. So this is a problem. I'm going to detach for 30 days to see how that goes. And hey, who knows? That 30 days may become, 60 days. That 60 days may maybe become a lifetime. But if I don't do it now, I will never do it. And I know myself. So I got to do it now. But, Wins and Lessons, we're still going to be putting out, I guess, like quotes and stuff like that from the episode. But I'm not going to be using my phone as much. No, excuse me. I'm not going to be using my phone at all. It's all from the MacBook. It's all going to be set times. And once those things are up, they are up. And I reply back the next day. That's just how it's going to be, right? And I had to do this. You know why? You can't lead people out of the prison if you're scared to walk out first. If you feel like you're a prisoner of your phone, whether it's endless scrolling or chasing likes, maybe it's time to take the walk with me on the 30-day challenge. Try it. Delete your app. See how you feel about it. But before you do that, download my free workbook, The Digital Release. It's available at brokentraditions.com. And let's see what freedom feels like together. Peace.